And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show. My name is Johnny Torres, filling in for Brandon Rhymes. He's out today, but we'll hopefully be back very soon. We are going to be talking about consumer advocacy like we always do with a lot of the premier small businesses and medium businesses from throughout the Tampa Bay area to help you not only get acquainted with how you can keep your home's longevity and save you money, but also maybe you want to put your house on the market, and we'll also give you some advice as to how to do that efficiently, effectively, and as always, we just have a myriad of partners that we bring on to this program on a daily basis to help educate you on how you can save money, how you can save your investments, and how you can also support the local economy with the small and medium businesses here in Tampa Bay. Don't forget, you can catch this show pretty much anywhere you want to listen to it online. If you got a smart TV, you can catch it on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and Amazon. You can also get the audio version of our show on your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, Google, iTunes podcast platform. And so make sure you like, subscribe, follow the show. If you're on YouTube, ring the bell. All right. We appreciate you for doing so as we continue to grow the show and of course, continue to help more people throughout the Tampa Bay area. We are a consumer advocacy show, and again, this show is only made possible because of the small businesses that help make this possible. So we'd like to thank one of our sponsors, and that's I think one of Brandon's favorites, which is Replenish IV Solutions. Replenish IV Solutions oftentimes will come to your house if you'd like to do that. Make that convenient for you. If that's somewhere you may feel more comfortable, or maybe you're feeling under the weather, maybe you'd rather stay home, they'll come and see you at your house, get you an IV drip full of vitamins, nutrients, the things you need to get you back on the right foot. Also, they have a couple locations throughout Tampa Bay, so you can come and visit them as well. And if you're not feeling quite right, or maybe you're preparing, for a big weekend or a big week of work ahead, again, you want to fuel up with Replenish IV Solutions. Check them out. Let them know that the Consumer Quarterback sent you, and Brandon, of course, would be incredibly appreciative of that. Also, as you may know, this show is powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams, and so we have amazing commercial and residential properties throughout the Tampa Bay area that's going to help you grow your business, grow your family, or maybe you're looking to downsize and get something on the water. We have lots of amazing listings. Mike, who's running our live stream, is going to go ahead and put up one of our properties right now, and this is a commercial property. It's a mixed-use property, really, in Seminole Heights, which is just blowing up with small businesses and restaurants and nightlife. 3008 North Nebraska Avenue in Tampa. It's about 3,700 square feet. They just reduced the price on this one. 6 rooms, 3 bathrooms, plenty of building and street parking, which, as you know, in Seminole Heights, that is a gold mine to find parking anywhere. It is, of course, also very close to the I-275, I-4 interchange, which gets you pretty much anywhere you need to go in Tampa Bay within a very short time frame, and it is within 5 to 10 minutes of downtown, Riverwalk, Armature Works, all the great places to hang out. So check out 3008 North Nebraska Avenue. Let's do one more, if you don't mind. 4220 West Pearl Avenue. It's a great commercial lot here. It's a 1,200 square foot building on the property, just a little over half an acre. Again, mixed use corner lot with ample parking, centrally located in South Tampa, again, to get you around town if you are small businesses that services the Tampa Bay area. Great opportunity for relocating your contractor or other business. 4220 West Pearl Avenue. For more details, check out platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. And one of the small businesses that, we've had on the show for quite some time, and absolutely an expert in his field, is our good friend Brandon FAUST, helping us kick off today's show from Mold Solutions USA. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good, Johnny. Thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here. And again, one of the things that we love about this show is being able to highlight expertise in the market. And you've been in the mold remediation game for a long time. It is absolutely, undoubtedly, an area that you excel at. But it's also an area that, again, because technology changes and the industry changes, like you have to kind of stay up with all these changes. And so there's continuing education involved that you also take part in. That's right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one of the things that it's important for me to do is continue to ensure that I'm on top of my game and staying in tune with the experts in the field, right? So I recently attended a class on actually doing mold remediation for the sensitized individual. In that particular class, there was some of the legends in the industry that actually were teaching that class. Doug Hoffman from NORMI, that's the National Organization for Remediators and Mold Inspectors.
Okay.
And also a fellow by the name of Michael Pinto, who's written 6 or 7 books on remediation and a number of articles. He's like one of the most published articles on the subject.
Right.
But they were really addressing a market and a need that in some cases is absolutely necessary, which is remediation for that individual that has become extremely sensitized to mold toxicity. So there's different levels of mold exposure. It's not particularly good for anybody, but you have some people that have a reaction where it actually debilitates them. They cannot be in the home where there's mold spores, or the gas that mold releases, the mycotoxins itself.
Well, and I would imagine now that we're kind of in a slightly post-COVID, where we still have COVID in the area, but, it's obviously not the dominating kind of headline anymore as it was recently. But people who had it, or have had it maybe even a number of times, have also developed a higher sensitivity to their respiratory system. And so somebody may not even realize that they are now more sensitive to the particles in the air post-COVID than they were maybe a couple years ago.
I think that's completely correct. I think that some people, and it's also one of those things that the more exposed you are, you can sort of build up that sensitivity. I was meeting with a couple doctors yesterday from one of the clinics here in Clearwater, Peaks of Health. Okay. And, we were talking about the impact of mold and mold spores and how some people do develop this sort of sensitivity as time goes on. And it's one of those things where the analogy is almost like you have a wheelbarrow of bricks, and you just put that one last brick on it, and it sort of tips the scale. And before you know it, the whole thing is a mess, and their body is going to go into hyper production of histamines, and the types of effects that it can create. You can have rashes, headaches, gut issues, brain fog. They're bringing up depression, various illnesses and diseases that actually start with the body reacting to mold or its toxins.
So I'll give you a personal example. The house that my daughter lives in with her mother, unfortunately flooded a couple of times due to the washer dryer situation.
Yep.
They came in, they lifted up the carpet, they put in blowers everywhere. I can't remember. They may or may not have taken out some sections of drywall, that sort of thing. How soon after an incident like that should people be looking for to make sure that they got it all, to make sure that that they didn't maybe miss a spot that has now grown into a mold problem?
Yeah, mold can start growing within 48 to 72 hours.
Wow.
So it can definitely start hitting you pretty quick. And I've heard stories of maintenance guys that have gone into a condo where they're checking on it, and then 24 hours later they come back and they have a white and green film all over the place that the day before they hadn't seen. So it can happen pretty fast.
Well, and to that note, you mentioned a white and green film, but again, there's this kind of urban myth, right? You know, that certain types of mold, if they look a certain way, aren't harmful or aren't as harmful. Can you go ahead and kind of give us the light on that?
Yeah. So that particular mold that starts growing due to humidity, Aspergillus penicillium. Aspergillus is actually one of the more toxic molds that is out there. And
Gotcha.
It is even more dangerous because it's a light spore, so it does travel throughout the house and it can get into the duct system. So when they're really sort of misestimating, and I think not just individuals, but even people in the remediation industry, have misestimated that particular mold in terms of how much of an impact that it can have. And that was one of the things that we were talking about with the doctors from Peaks of Health yesterday, is just how bad that particular type of mold is and the gas that it releases, the aspergillus in particular. One of the other ones that tends to happen is that mold also starts growing under the crawl spaces. So, I was, down under a crawl space yesterday, just because it was a really difficult one. So my guys were kind of having a hard time explaining it. So I wanted to put eyes on it myself, just to make sure that the job was done right. So we got under there, and sure enough, there was a white growth on a lot of the wood underneath that home. So that gas now is coming into the house, and they've been wondering, they've been trying to figure out why, do they have rashes? Why is the kid, she has 3 kids, 6, 4, and 2, that all have these chronic coughs and are waking up, with this post-nasal drip and having physical issues that are sort of unexplainable. And then we ended up finding a pipe that was actually leaking under the house and was basically making the whole crawl space far more moist and wet than it should have been. And it was basically like a petri dish under that home, causing a toxic sort of situation.
Well, that's the thing, unlike maybe some other cities, we do seem to have, I came from Miami, and there's not a lot of old stuff in Miami, certainly to the extent here. We've got entire neighborhoods of 100-plus-year-old homes.
100-year-old homes.
So what kind of a timeline would you recommend for people to be checking things like that, under the home in some of these kind of, especially with these older homes? How often should one maybe be checking for a potential mold issue?
I would be looking at least once a year, just, and potentially every 6 months, stay on top of it, find out. But I think that what we're going to see in this area in particular is there's a new sort of system where we're doing crawl space weatherproofing and waterproofing, which is a new concept. But because of the humidity issues, because of the amount of rain that we get here, and that hot, humid air moves under the crawl space, you can start getting growth under the homes. And, we've talked about that old Florida smell, or that musty smell that won't go away. We've seen floors that start cupping due to moisture issues that are coming from the crawl space. You'll start seeing this new system where you actually go in and rather than putting insulation up on the actual floor itself, because moisture can get trapped between that insulation and the floor, or even doing the isolene foam, which is not good, because if there's mold already there, you're trapping it, and sometimes that moisture can get through, especially if it's open cell foam. That's not particularly the best way to go. The way to go is you actually put down a vapor barrier on the earth itself under the crawl space, and you shut that crawl space off, where you have an intake and an exhaust, and you put a dehumidifier under the home. There's a whole system, and then you basically create like a fan system on top of the dehumidifier. So you're basically applying,
kind of like the way some people do in the ceiling.
So you're basically applying 3 different technologies all in one, where one is a sort of a separation using a plastic that is not permeable, holding that moisture down. Then the other one is putting a fan system, which almost creates like a vortex, which helps to dry out this space, and it also moves spores so that they don't land. And then the third technology is the dehumidifier, which is basically the condensation, where you pull water, from the air, and then you drain it outside, So, I think that this is one of these areas that is going to boom, because people are starting to become aware that, hey, I'm not feeling well, things are going wrong, I should look for mold. And then they look, and sure enough, they had a moldy situation under their home the entire time, So that crawl space weatherproofing, waterproofing is really an important aspect of this industry.
Now, we got a couple minutes here before we got to go, but summertime's here. It's been awfully hot already, even this early in the summer. And you'll find people who leave the doors open, because the family's home. They're all hanging out a lot more often. And then, of course, you've got those differing temperatures between indoor and outdoor. Some people who, again, may not mind leaving all their air conditioning on while they got the doors and windows open. What are some of the do's and don'ts in those scenarios to avoid having a kind of humidity, mold developing issue here during the summer?
Absolutely. So we actually have a home that we're working on right now as we speak. I have a team down there, and she had a mold bloom that came from a humidity issue. And a lot of that humidity was actually coming in from doors not being properly sealed. Okay. So that hot, humid air was making it in, because hot is going to move towards cold and wet's going to move towards dry. So she also had, plastic lining that wasn't sealed properly. It was kind of open. The cat had gotten to it. So she was getting all this hot, humid air. At the same time, her AC wasn't set at the right setting. Because if you're over 60% on humidity, and if you get up to 70% humidity in your home, you're creating an ideal situation for mold growth. So it's wet enough that mold will start growing on anything porous.
Sure.
So you want to watch more than just the temperature, watch the humidity. But if I was going to make a recommendation on the temperature, you really want to be between 75 and 78 in that zone. You don't want to go too cold, because if it's too cold, your ducts are going to sweat. You're going to get condensation on your vents, and you're going to end up creating, in that air that comes out of your AC is going to be wet as well. And before you know it, you're going to have mold in your ducts, which nobody wants, okay, because it spreads throughout the entire house.
Right.
And then if you have it too hot, if it's up in your 81, 82 arena in that zone, then your humidity is also going to be too high, because the air conditioner has two functions. One is to climatize the air, and the other is to pull water out of the air. And it does that by, going off and on. You don't want to run it on, because then it just stays wet.
Sure.
So you keep it on auto, so it will take it down to a particular temperature, and then it will dry out, and then it will kick back on when it gets too warm again. So you have it on auto instead of just straight on.
All right. Well, if somebody wants to come, have you guys come out, do an inspection, and make sure that they don't have any mold in their home, what are the best ways to get a hold of you guys?
Sure. They can give us a call at 727-276-4787. That's the office number.
Okay.
We do free environmental consultations, so they can always give us a call, or they can also reach out to us online at moldsolutionsusa.com. We're also on social media, Facebook, Instagram, under the same tagline, Mold Solutions USA.
Perfect.
So we have friendly and professional staff that would love to take their call and put them on the schedule.
All right. Brandon Faust, Mold Solutions USA, moldsolutionsusa.com. Thanks, buddy. Great to see you as always. Coming up, we've got Nick Shriver decorating Elves, and also the Tampa Bay Lightning are part of our feel-good story. Check that out in just a few minutes. This is the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, in studio with Martine Gramatica, that is, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer Super Bowl winner. Lifeguard Imaging, lifeguardimaging.com, saving lives through early detection.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. Yes, that's what we're doing at Lifeguard Imaging. You come in asymptomatic, and that's what we do. You're being proactive. You're coming in. We do a scan from the neck to the pelvis. It's a full body scan. It's a 3D image of every organ, and that's where 90% of the deadliest cancers are, in our mid region. So we can see everything. But for your listeners, we have a real good special. We have a $599 value, absolutely complimentary. They can come in for a coronary artery scan, which will give you their calcium score, 100% complimentary for your people.
Very cool. Hey, take them up on that offer, 813-917-1894. Call or text complimentary scan, 813-917-1894, and check them out online, lifeguardimaging.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
Have you desired more income and more freedom in your life? Now is your time. Keller Williams Realty has just launched our own real estate school, and you can get licensed for free. I'm Brandon Rhymes, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And for the first 3 people who reach out, I will personally coach you. 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. ConsumerQB.com. ConsumerQB.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback. Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
Again, thank you so much, everybody, for listening, watching the Consumer Quarterback Show. Don't forget, we are powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Reach out to Brandon at 813-917-1894, 813-917-1894 for the latest listings, whether it be commercial, residential, anywhere throughout Tampa Bay. His team is ready to help you get into your new home or to sell your existing home. As always, the Consumer Quarterback Show powered by the small medium businesses throughout Tampa Bay. We appreciate them for their support and everything they do to keep our economy running. One of these businesses is Easy Brothers Moving. Okay, Easy Brothers Moving is actually, like most of the partners on this show, is a service that Brandon uses himself. It is tested and tried by Brandon, and that's why he's happy to have them as a partner on the show. Easy Brothers Moving helped Brandon get into his existing home. These guys went above and beyond for him and did a phenomenal job. And so if you're moving, relocating, whether it's coming into Florida or going out of Florida, you want to reach out to Easy Brothers Moving. Visit them online at easybrothersmoving.com or call 833-EASY-MOVIN. And of course, the Platinum MVP team has just amazing listings that you're not going to find anywhere else. We have a beautiful home that's listed in the Carrollwood area at 14663 Village Glen Drive. That's 14663 Village Glen Drive in Tampa. This is in the Carrollwood area. It is a gorgeous home. You're not going to ever want to leave this house because it pretty much has everything you need. It is a 2-bed, 2.5 bath, just under 2,000 square feet in the beautiful Carrollwood Village community. It has an outdoor pool and kitchen, covered lanai, outdoor shower. Master bath features a jacuzzi tub, sauna, and tanning bed. So you may not even leave the master bath, honestly. I mean, it's just that kind of a great home, and the kitchen is unbelievable. You got to take a look at the pictures at platinummvpteam.kw.com. They were designed by a local restaurateur, and this home is just top notch. Check it out, platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's 14663 Village Glen Drive in Tampa. We're going to do one more, and this is actually a favorite of mine. I wish, it's one of those where I kind of wish I had the extra dough, for like a pet project. This is 14121 7th Street, Dade City. Dade City, like much of Tampa Bay, has seen explosive growth, and downtown Dade City is just awesome. It takes you kind of back to old school America, and this restaurant is right there in downtown Dade City. The restaurant itself was established in 1990. They are looking to pretty much hand off this restaurant turnkey, ready to go. It has 2 dining rooms upstairs. It has all the equipment you need to keep this restaurant up and running. The sale includes all the furniture and the equipment. It's a perfect entrepreneurial investment. And if you want to bring in a partner, an operator that may need some time to relocate, it's even got a one bedroom, one bathroom apartment located in the facility as well. And of course, being in downtown Dade City, plenty of parking available for this great restaurant that we have available there, 14121 7th Street in Dade City. And again, for more listings, check out platinummvpteam.kw.com. As I mentioned there before we went to the break, the Tampa Bay Lightning are part of our feel-good story today, and one guy dressed for the occasion is our next guest, Nick Shriver, Decorating Elves. Buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me, and
there we go.
Go Lightning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go Bolts, right?
Well, it's one of these things where, they like to keep you on the edge of your seat. But we're going to go ahead and get into Decorating Elves and the Lightning playoffs, all that into the next segment. This is the Consumer Quarterback Show. Make sure you check out consumerqb.com. That's consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, Johnny.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And again, don't forget to check out the listings, commercial or residential real estate listings with our Platinum MVP team at platinummvpteam.kw.com. Or if you have any questions about the properties, want to list your property, reach out to Brandon directly at 813-917-1894. 813-917-1894. We've got Nick Shriver, decorating Elves, in the house with us. And again, adequately dressed for the Tampa Bay Lightning as they continue their path to the Stanley Cup Finals. They don't like to make it easy on us fans, right? I mean, they've been keeping us on our toes. It's been a little heart-stopping.
Well, one of the great things about being fans is that up and down roller coaster that the team takes you on when they go through these series.
Sure.
You know, each series from series to series. And, you know, the great thing about an experienced team is that they never give up and they just keep playing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and as you were saying kind of during the break, you know, the beautiful thing is that these guys seem to figure it out as they go along, which is really the sign of a championship team. People that can adjust and adapt to their current situation and find a way to win.
Absolutely. And I mean, how many lessons do we need to take that to our regular lives, right?
Yeah.
Don't panic.
Right.
And stay in the game.
Stay focused.
Keep playing.
Fight to the end.
Figure out how to beat your opponent and then do it.
Yeah, because it seems like, especially in these playoffs, there's been a lot of real late game goals, that again, I mean, had they not persevered, they could have easily given up and just given up the series. And had they not persevered, they wouldn't have scored that last minute goal.
And they've done that a few times.
Yeah.
And they've done that a few times. So here today, I'm here, we're getting into the summer. We're getting into the heat of the summer.
Speaking about a different Lightning.
Yeah, so I actually came in here prepared to talk about the Lightning all the way around.
There we go.
Obviously huge Bolts fan.
Yeah.
We love our team here. There's definitely a national bias and keeps us the underdog, even though we are defending, and I have to say this, we are back-to-back defending champions, even though we go into all these games as underdogs to all these other teams, and it's ridiculous.
I think the NHL in general just hates that two of the best teams in the league are from Florida.
Yeah, and it bothers everyone, but we love it here, and we love our team here. So what I'm going to start with here is, how did the Lightning get their name? Obviously, Central Florida is specifically the Tampa Bay area is known as the Lightning capital of North America.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? That means that we get frequent lightning strikes in the area. And the National Weather Service says that Florida has its unique location surrounded by warm water, provides everything that thunderstorms need to form. So the Weather Service also says July and August are the most active months for lightning strikes. Now, what does that mean? That means that you need to protect your home and your electronics specifically on your home. So there's a lot of ways to do that, okay? So
I was going to say, it seems like that industry has really blown up over the past few years in terms of the different technology you can implement into your home or methods that you can protect, your home.
Well, as the industry and as we become more electronic and more tech and more everything that goes along with that tech, this stuff is really, really susceptible to electronic surge. And so it's something that we call we call it dirty power, or we call it gray power. And so a lot of times what happens when lightning strikes, it discharges between the atmosphere and the earth. This strike carries a very high level of energy and causes extreme amount of damage in the home. And what that happens a lot of times is that strike actually doesn't have to happen at the house or at the neighbor's house, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. But once it strikes anywhere in the grid, it can carry for up to 2 miles through the grid.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've got some really, really susceptible electronics that don't have surge on your house,
or an older home,
and so with our lighting systems, as our lighting, and obviously we're an outdoor lighting contractor, we're an outdoor lighting design, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit specific in detail. But as our lighting systems become more electrical and more technical and more specific with the LEDs and a lot of the circuitry and the digital displays, they become more susceptible, and becomes even more important that consumers are having surge installed in our world on the secondary. But this is also, a shout out to everybody that owns a home or a property to double check that they have surge strips on all their computers, on their TVs, on all that stuff, and not just. And
I would say more than ever, we're putting a lot of demand on our home's electrical system.
Well, absolutely, and there's some people that could be specific to those, but. There's everything now is there's an internet, there's a Wi-Fi, there's a digital display, there's an electrical component, there's a circuit board, there's circuitry, there's LEDs, there's all of these really, really, really small, small little electrical devices inside of everything, and they're not really designed for major voltage irregularities, and so we got to help protect them, and it's not very hard. And it's not very expensive, On the inside of your home, making sure that you have surge suppressors, and most of the time that comes as like a multi-strip, and we all have them. But if you're buying them from like a cheap outlet, a lot of times they don't have the surge suppression in them. Right. So you want to make sure you're reading the labels, and then you have surge suppression up to like a 600. That there's an indicator light, and then there's some other things that can be done. I know Duke Energy has a zap cap system. That's something that's good to get into. Although, all they're really doing is ensuring things and then putting a small suppression on the system. Sometimes they're not even done correctly, but making sure that your panel is grounded, because a lot of older homes, especially in, old South Tampa, old St. Pete, old Clearwater, the things that are pre-1970, pre-1980, a lot of them never had the grounding rods installed. So, having a grounding rod installed, which is an 8-foot copper or zinc rod that gets driven all the way down in the ground and then gets hooked to your panel, which grounds any electrical surge or any electrical strikes right back into the ground, and it really prevents it from going through.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. So new homes actually have 2 of them. As part of code when they're being built. So that's a big deal, and that grounds your panel, grounds the entire house. So that's really a big deal. And then
is there a way to check? Is there a way to, for homeowners?
So if you just look at your panel on the outside of your panel, typically where your meter comes in, or sometimes even the panel's outside, and you see like a kind of a gauged wire that carries down and then goes into a rod that's sticking up on the side of the house, you got one. Okay. It's pretty simple. And if you don't,
well, now I don't know if I've ever seen one, but okay.
Yeah, you'll notice it, and it's usually over there in the area of your utility items. Right. It's pretty common. It's very common on new homes. It's something that should be added on older homes if you don't have it. I have a 1972 ranch, and we had to add them when we did our renovation 3 years ago. When we moved into our house, we had to add it because it wasn't there.
Is that process fairly simple? Obviously for a contractor to come in and do. I wouldn't recommend it.
Definitely consult an electrician, or you may be able to get away with a handyman. It is not a very complex thing. I mean, they drive an 8-foot steel rod into the ground. They hook a wire from it to your panel.
But you also want somebody who, again, knows what they're doing because of all the other things that are going on underground around your home.
Absolutely. And they need to know there's very specific material and very specific sizes of the wire and the gauges and the connectors that make that effective. So it's not a very expensive add-on, but it is something that takes a little bit of time, a few hours to do. And then that's a really big one. And then adding, at the same time, you can have them add a surge specific to the panel. You should have a surge specific to your air conditioner. You should have a surge specific to your generator. Anything that's a high-cost dollar item that's electronic, you should have that extra surge. Surges are in the range of $100 to $200 for the item. $100 to $200 to install
things that you're going to depend on, heaven forbid if the power goes out or you do get a surge, something that, you don't want your refrigerator, for instance, to go out, because that's going to cost you not only a new refrigerator, but all the contents that are in that refrigerator.
Absolutely. Air conditioners are a big one, man. That's a high ticket electrical item.
Right.
So you want to make sure those items are protected. The outdoor lighting system is a big deal, because now that everything's electronic, and if it's not installed properly by a certified contractor and there's not surge on the secondary, a lot of times surge will happen on like a tree or something in the landscape, which will carry that into the ground. And then because all the wiring runs out into the ground, that'll bring it back to the side of the house. And then sometimes that'll carry all the way through if there's not suppression there. And so we install it on the secondary. We double check it on the primary. and we make sure that if there is a system, like there's an electrical strike in the landscape or somewhere in the general area, and it gets into the ground, it doesn't come back through the system that way and damage the house that way.
Yeah.
I've seen it that way. The other way is if it strikes in the grid and it carries out, it doesn't carry out. So there's a lot of different ways that we have to look at those protections. It's really important that people consider that stuff, because it's one of those things like you never really realize how much damage it causes until it's done. And it's one of those things that's really simple and really inexpensive to do on the front end. You know, it's just to add that those little things.
We got about a minute and a half, and Nick, when let's say lightning happens to strike a tree outside your home, I mean, is that also something that could potentially again cause damage, to the electrical system in the home, or is that where some of these other elements kick in to protect the home?
So there's a couple of things that can happen, right? So one, if it strikes a tree, near the home, typically there's a lot of electricity and electrostatic in the air just through the wavelengths. And sometimes digital devices that are super sensitive can actually pick that stuff up, and it can cause issues with digital displays, issues with digital devices. Sometimes that electricity will carry into the ground and then look for an outlet, and then we'll find wires or other things that are connected to the house and then carry through that, metal conductors and things like that, and we'll carry it through the house. So, that is something to be concerned with. And this is one thing we haven't talked about because we've been talking about the house and electrical components.
Yep.
Everybody should be inside if there's lightning. Like,
oh, sure.
It causes major damage to humans more than it causes to electrical devices. So, that's just kind of a quick public service. Let's not forget about taking care of ourselves and seeking cover and getting indoors when those kinds of storms happen.
Well, and again, it's, being that you're in the outdoor lighting business, I mean, it's one of these things that, sure, you can go to your local hardware store, or big box store, buy some outdoor lighting and throw it up there, but it's not going to be protected. And it's not going to have the quality of work that your team puts into it. And it's something that may end up costing you more money down the road because it could affect the other, electrical systems in your home.
Absolutely, and we've seen it time and time again where we get them every year where somebody's installed it poorly, they missed a misconnection, they installed something that they shouldn't have, they used parts that were not fully NEC rated, and those kinds of issues will carry, and then they end up getting a very, very expensive bill that most of the time does not pass through. And I've seen it destroy TVs, refrigerators in today's world have all these electrical components on them. There's so many items in the house that have digital displays that are smart connected. Everything. And they're all susceptible to these surges and to these issues. So it is a big deal. It is something that people want to consider. It is something that they want to remember.
So next driver, Decorating Elves, decoratingelves.com. Give us your phone number, buddy.
So it's 1-800-MyLights. That's MYLITES, 1-800-MyLights. You can always find us at www.decoratingelves.com.
All right. Thank you for being with us as always. Go lightning, and beware of the lightning,
Go bold, watch the lightning.
That's right. More of the Consumer Quarterback Show coming up along with Shane Socash, David Reynolds, Jewelry and Coin, and our feel-good story of the day featuring the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Hey, everybody, it's the captain, Matt Bruce, and you're listening to my buddy, Brandon Rhymes, a consumer quarterback. Sell, Brandon, sell.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. We are looking for real estate investors. We've got a new relationship bringing us a tremendous amount of off-market real estate investment opportunities. So text the word investor to our hotline, 813-750-0550. Off-market real estate investment opportunities. Text investor to 813-750-0550. Brandon Rhymes here, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, looking for real estate investors. Send us a text. Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And don't forget to visit the Platinum MVP team at platinummvpteam.kw.com for all the latest in residential and commercial real estate listings. In fact, let's check out a couple of Brandon's listings right now. 6899 Tree Haven Drive. This is one of his newer listings that we have here. It's in Spring Hill. This is a heck of a deal. 1,100 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, stainless steel appliances, screen and patio, huge backyard. Again, Spring Hill, another community that's just growing leaps and bounds. And this house has been renovated. It's a great looking house, and again an already well established community. So you're not going to be inundated by growth because it's already in a community that's been around for some time. But check out 6899 Tree Haven Drive in Spring Hill. We also have 507 South Prospect, 507 South Prospect Avenue. Now this is a commercial listing. It's an awesome office building in Clearwater. About 2,700 square feet. It's a 2-story building, 12 rooms, 2 bathrooms. You can make additional income by renting out whatever office space you don't need. The awesome part is it's right by downtown Clearwater, right off Gulf to Bay. It has a newer roof, HVAC units, so that's not a worry. And if you're ever having a rough day at the office, you're only 10 minutes from Clearwater Beach, so you can't beat that. Check out 507 South Prospect Avenue, great office building in downtown Clearwater. All right, we want to bring you today's feel-good story of the day as Tampa Bay Lightning continue to have a huge impact in our communities in ways that, again, are not always expected. Local kids have been inspired to play street hockey by the Lightning. Now, this is something that they've, of course, they've been promoting the game of hockey among young girls, in communities where they may not have ice rinks. But these kids just need some hockey sticks, pucks, or tennis balls, either works, a few kids on inline skates, and a goal, and you got yourselves a street hockey game. Jackson Kelly says, you just try and get better. You practice everything that you do in a game situation. And Jackson's mom said her son really got into hockey the last few years. I wonder why. Because of the Lightning. Santa brought him some rollerblades. He started out at the dead end, and he actually didn't want to play hockey in the beginning. We started off watching the Lightning, taught himself how to skate, and then all of a sudden, a couple neighbors joined the travel team, and once they started playing, well, he wanted to play. And so it's amazing, again, because when you have such an inspiring team, like we were talking about, Nick Shriver hanging out with us here in the studio, that continues to dominate, continues to win. And these are just great guys. All you hear are these great stories about how they look out for each other, how they treat each other, and all the work they do in the community. I mean, those are the kind of athletic role models that you want kids to look up to.
Well, you got to love a story where kids are out playing in the street, they're out being physical, they're out being active, they're out getting the outdoors in, man. And I love that story. Just picking it up. I think was Jackson there and his buddies just started playing street hockey, and so. Definitely a kind of team that motivates you to get out and try to do what they're doing. Well,
I'll tell you what, as a kid from Miami, who probably didn't see an ice skating rink until his teen years, it is a brutal sport. I mean, physically, it's incredibly demanding. So the Tampa Bay Lightning, again, continuing to do amazing things here in Tampa Bay. Another small business doing amazing things in Tampa Bay is Shane Socash and David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin, who joins us now via phone. How you doing, Shane?
Fantastic. I like to think we're doing great things.
Well, I want to talk you up because I happened to drop in, I'd say about a month ago with my mom, and my mom had this watch that she's been sitting on it for years. Unfortunately, she doesn't have enough places to wear it to. It's a very expensive watch. It's got a Rolex and it's got some diamonds on it and things like that, and she doesn't feel quite comfortable wearing it on a daily basis, and so she wanted to come by and see what it was worth, and you guys just treated us so great. We walked right in, we were attended right away. You answered all of our questions. We just had such a great experience.
It's super nice to hear. We're seeing like a little bit of market changing, and that is, over the course of the last couple of years, we've been selling a lot and selling and selling and selling, and we're definitely seeing a little bit of a reversal. We're seeing maybe inflation, gas prices, this type of thing, having an effect, and we're seeing people like deciding, what do I really need?
Yeah.
And coming in our door and getting offers.
So are watches kind of going the way of the record players?
No, I don't think so. Boy, I'll tell you, mechanical watches, boy, they're still popular. High-end Rolex, Cartier, this type of thing. Even though, smartwatches, my girls, teenagers, they would have nothing to do with it.
Sure.
Simple old analog watch. But it's still a status symbol. It still feels good. It's a quality thing. It's nice to own something that's high quality. And they still sell.
And I think it may become one of those things where it's like it's the object you wear on the weekend, or maybe when you're going out for a nice dinner or you're going out to an event, something to kind of change it up, because the digital watches are nice and there's some that are getting fancier, but they still look like a digital watch. They don't. A lot of them don't have that kind of elegant appeal of a mechanical watch.
Absolutely.
And also, I don't know if you've noticed eBay doing a very big push on watches and the reselling of watches like that. I mean, let's talk about the reasons why somebody should come to David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin in St. Petersburg, versus just kind of winging it on their own and then just going out there and putting their things online.
So you want to, we have an eBay aspect to our store, and things that are not nice enough to put in our store, we have an outlet that they end up on eBay. And one of the reasons we put them there is because they don't have to be warrantied. They're genuine, but it's like if it's a little worn out and we don't want to put much more money into it, it's something that can end up on eBay. And then if someone buys something like that off of eBay, you're going to end up putting more money into it. Where
right.
If you come into our store, the things that are in the jewelry store are things that we stand behind. They're high quality pieces with warranties to match Rolexes. They're all serviced by a Rolex tech. You know what you're getting. It is one of the things we do regularly, where someone buys something off of Craigslist or OfferUp or eBay, and bring it to us, and whether it be bullion or coins or Rolexes, a percentage every year that we have to look at are not even genuine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. All right, well, again, for some people, as these kind of fears of a recession start to kind of set in across the community, maybe looking to unload some jewelry, some watches, things like that. How can they reach you? Where can they find you? Give us kind of your closing contact info.
Yeah, you got it. So we're David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin. We've been on the corner of 40th Street and Central Avenue in St. Petersburg since 1981. Plan to be here at least another 20 years or so. You can check our website, davidreynoldsjewelryandcoin.com. You can always text us as well, 727-327-2646.
Awesome. Are you getting that BRT out by your store?
What is that?
The bus rapid transit. That.
Yeah, the Sunrunner.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, hopefully, maybe people will ride that and come out to see you as well. This has been the Consumer Quarterback Show. Johnny Torres filling in for Brandon Rhymes. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We'll be back. See ya.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.